What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. For everybody here, I'm glad your computer's working. That's good. We got Anna in the house. Good morning to you, Bill, Cindy, Jenny, Jay, Jeff, Kevin, Rick, Tim, Wendy's in the house. All my peeps in YouTube land. We got Paul, Jerome, Real, the virtual domain. Good morning to all you guys. Jerome, I haven't seen you in a minute, man. How you been? How you been? But yeah, I think there's a lot of banking systems down. It looks like some flights are being canceled, but CrowdStrike kind of fell through, and there's some outages. Sounds like it just affects Microsoft computers, PC, but that's a little chaos out there in the world. But it is what it is. Yesterday, pretty big, massive continuation selling. They had a chance. Bulls had a chance. We were watching that level pretty closely. We're like, okay, maybe we could hold this 558.10. They gave it a shot, and then we started getting those closes underneath, and the result not too great. So a much lower VPOC that to me tells me we probably still continue lower, but we have this little trend line. So a little bit of a trend line holding us up. Long term, could this just be a small bounce? Possibly. Watch today's candle very, very closely. And I would say even watch today's VPOC, or yesterday's VPOC. That is some kind of level support around 552.86. We are above it. We're getting that gap up. Question is it going to last? I don't know. Going into a 3-day weekend. There was also some Axios reports too. We'll see what happens, but they were saying Joe Biden could be dropping out as early as this weekend. Oh, we might get a little more shakeup in just kind of the politics world, which again, for the politician itself, doesn't really matter to the markets, but the policies will. And then it comes down to a big discussion of, well, who's replacing and who would that be? So we'll see if that happens. But that was the report that kind of came out yesterday. And again, markets don't like not knowing things. Markets like to say, hey, I'd like to put my money here because here's my investment theory, my thesis. It's okay to be wrong on it, but at least I know the information going in. So when you get that little shake up on things, it could be a little tough. A little tough for the market. At least creates a little doubt, a little unsureness, if that's a word. I don't think so, but I'm going to use it anyway. But SPY. So SPY is hanging on. We do have that gap up today, which is extremely important for the bulls. But now it's what can the bulls actually do with the rest of the day. So I do have to watch that 552.92. I'd probably still have a little bit more bearish lean to everything, but even if we get some kind of dead cat bounce today, 554.59 would be my first spot. Looking for some kind of other resistance, maybe up at this 556.17. But I don't know. A much bigger one is if we get back up to this 557.96. Again, I don't know. From that point, if we get up there, if we could break through and just not run nonstop bullish, we're looking at this thing next week or a month from now going, well, yeah, we just hit that up trend line and we started to bounce. But if we can get back up there, I think that's a really good risk to reward to buy some puts and get yourself some protection. I think a lot of people probably want to try to get out of some positions, reduce some positions at that point. So we'll see what happens on the SPY. We got the Qs with a good retests or not. Yeah, I mean, long term, this is a good retest spot where we should hold. We are gapping up slightly here. Obviously, a little bit different of a picture on Qs. So the high of yesterday's candle, I think if we could get back into this trend line, we start breaking yesterday's candle, especially the day before, especially 2 days ago. That's where the volume started to come in. That I think to me would be my sign of like, all right, we're probably not going down or not as quickly as some of these charts look like. I was doing the afternoon room yesterday, so you guys were also going to give me a whole bunch of tickers that you guys wanted to cover. SPY and Qs, like they're both in the zone where they could like, maybe we could get a bounce, maybe not. It doesn't look great, but then we were looking at the individual names, and like there's a lot of room to the downside on there's a lot of room to the downside on some of these names. So these are going to be some important levels of can we survive just kind of a really big pullback in a lot of things or not. And this is This is the do or die situation. Not a great close, I don't think, for the Qs though. Even at VPOC was actually under most of those volume zones. We did get a bounce right here. That's where we got to hang in. So watch the lows of today. You could also watch probably about 470, 43 as support. If we start breaking that, that's probably our first sign that we start to dip. And then watch 483.57 for some kind of resistance. We start getting above it. Okay, maybe we have a chance for some kind of a green close today, but we will see. CrowdStrike. Yep. So we'll get to that. I know you guys were posting in Slack that there's some outages, some blue screens. Seems like it affects just mostly Microsoft. Anything Microsoft related? Is anybody else having issues? Did anybody wake up today and have a blue screen? I got a Mac, so I'm good. I'm good. Tim says no. Okay. I know Joe said she wasn't able to work today because or they had to switch it over to virtual, something like that. But okay. So, but we do have a little bit of a gap down. Interesting. Intercom. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I know what an intercom is, but is that a company though? Like, I feel like my understanding of intercom is different than what you're going for. But we actually drew this line last night. This I set a reminder. Look what I put. Prepare to go short with the boat. So I don't know. We are under some very key levels. This is one of the stocks we did look at yesterday. And I was like, you know what, if we start breaking that zone, this might be a decent spot to go short. At open though, and the reason I say that too, just so I just don't throw random sentence out there and put fear and panic into the market, and then I'm like, okay, see you guys later. But this is definitely a nice little volume zone. This is a good, okay volume zone. This is a great one. And then we got two small levels down here. Not realistically, besides those two levels, there's not a lot really stopping us from a big, massive down move to somewhere in this 187.09 zone. Even coming into slightly above 150, I think it's about 157, something like that. There's a lot of room on CrowdStrike. Not only they didn't even want to trigger it yet. I'm sure at the morning bell this thing will go off. But we got to watch out. Does that mean today is the day to low? No, I didn't say automatically buy puts. In fact, I didn't say do nothing because it's not financial advice, but it's just from me. It's just for me. I'm getting the boat ready just in case. For today, for day trade, this is a retest gap. This is a stock opening right at that 200. Wendy's apartment intercom is down. Your intercom is affected by CrowdStrike? I'm actually confused. That's crazy. That's wild. Um, there's a shot on CrowdStrike that we do buy this dip on the news. Again, it sounds like a severe problem, but it's a very specific news related gap. I almost didn't want it to be like that. However, that being said, there could be some bulls in here. I look for maybe a quick flash down into that 200, 296.58, then see if we can get some kind of a bounce on CrowdStrike. Actually might be decent for the fade, but as we start getting into a little bit higher levels, that's probably where I'd be looking to get some of those puts, see if we close this gap a little bit. But I'm ready to go short. I'm ready. We'll see what the candles give me at open. Let's get this pretty higher on the list. And it does have a good amount of downside potential without really any support coming in besides a couple small levels. That's about it. So we'll see. Just for day trade purpose though, yeah, that I'd see if I can get in a little bit higher with some puts if I want to, but you start getting some decent risk to reward on this one. Let's see what the other ones were. We got Microsoft and Lilly. Microsoft again, so mostly it's a lot of Microsoft products. Apparently, also intercoms. I'm guessing they make intercoms now. I don't know, but Microsoft. I don't know if we looked at this one yesterday. I don't think this one was on the list. Not a great candle to the downside. Again, they're not gonna make shorting like crystal clear, but let's go out to the volume. Let's see if we get a little more information. Yeah, we're in no man's land now. So we actually do have a lot of room to the downside, probably into about 425.94. And then a much bigger spot would be actually down to 420. So we got some room on Microsoft. I'd be ready to go short too. I do also like the fact that we are taking out that hammer with the bull stepped in yesterday. We obviously have this little bit of a downtrend on those VPOCs, so everything looks good. Why I say they don't make it easy? Well, we do have also a little bit closer to this 430 zone, so 430.56. A little spot of maybe a previous support, previous pivot. We have some VPOCs there, so maybe shaving a couple shares of that spot. Otherwise, again, just in that volume, there's not a lot really holding us back. We have some room to the downside, so Microsoft could be an interesting short too. Crowd has a lot more room on it, but Microsoft does look really good to the downside too. Lilly, LLY. This one, yeah, there's competitors now jumping in the weight loss drug field. So they took a 20% hit yesterday. I understand getting a bounce here. 20% one day, that's a lot. So pretty much dead cat balance. We'll have to see how this plays out. We are now above the 50 EMA. So watch that level, see if that holds. But more or less, I would probably, and I wouldn't even do it from yesterday's candle. I would probably do it from here. Create some kind of fib that's going to take you, I think, roughly 50%, 618, somewhere around the 884.71, even on this dead cat balance, or somebody's still just getting trapped in this thing, maybe clear out their position around 884.71. So I'd see if we could come up a little bit higher. Rock is in the house. Good morning to you. We got KR. Kroger. I don't see any pre-market really move on this one, so seems pretty flat to open. Right now, the trend is bullish. I can't go bullish here. We are starting to run into some good resistance. I mean, Kroger, I would say, is a little bit more to leaning in the direction of like a safety play. So this might benefit from maybe a little more volatility in the markets. But the one thing I would be concerned with is if you were to go long here, you're buying right the resistance. I don't have any candles yet to tell me to go short either. So if I'm in it, I'm probably moving my stops up, getting ready to take some gains. And I think that's if we do get a sell off of any type on Kroger, to me it seems like that would just be us kind of hitting targets. People are profitable already in this one, so I don't have an edge for a day trade. Um, but we'll see. We got Oxy again. I am in Oxy. Some like oil. Yeah, that could do fairly decent. We almost hit. I even have a little reminder up here. We got very close to that one, but I think that was our first stop on Oxy. Otherwise, I do have some higher targets. It was a pretty good close yesterday. I think we could see. Well, we're getting a little gap down today, but I think we can see a little continuation on this one. So probably after one, well, we really started this move all the way down at $60.41. And then we got up to 64.70, 64.78, something like that. That's a big move for Oxy. I would not be surprised if we are pulling back slightly, right? So we got this reversal candle. It is a bearish gap and go. Maybe come into this level right here, which is probably about $63. Actually, it's probably a little bit lower than that. Let's see. We got 62.68. That is a good bounce spot on Oxy. So we'll see if we get into there, and then we make kind of that next breakout, something like that. But otherwise, very good VPOC. So good close. Just kind of again ran into that resistance. I think we have some profit takers, some smart people that got in here, getting out up here. A little pullback, I think, would be kind of okay for it, and then that move kind of comes in. So today, probably a little bit to the bearish side, but not. I'm not putting a heck of a lot of weight to the bear side. I think it's just kind of inside, but continuation. Most likely, you probably have to sit through a little pullback first if you're in this thing for a swing trade. We got AVGO. This is one that we looked at. This is how we were kind of planning this trade out. There was two ways that I was kind of back and forth, like because those big moves. But this is another one that does have a lot of room to the downside. Like if we start to, I even set the kind of alert for this one. Prepare to go short. That is somewhere around 157.91 ish, 158.33 maybe somewhere around that zone. Um, I actually said two alerts on this one, but here's another one. If we start to break down, there's really nothing holding us back to like 138, 139. So it's got a lot of potential to the downside. Today it is gapping up. We do have this unfilled gap here. So my original thought was like, okay, if this, and I still think this is true, it just doesn't give me the right risk reward. If yesterday's candle, where those bulls, that does look like a little bit of potential bear trap on this. But if this candle from yesterday gets taken out, I think we start to get into that no volume zone where we just get that free fall. So this is a good candle. The original trade was looking a lot different than this. My thoughts on it is I just couldn't get that right risk to reward that I wanted. So for me to do that, I have to come in higher. I'm looking for that gap fill. So if we come in, we fill that gap, I could get my stops up here. I think that's a pretty safe zone to do it. And I could take a shot at shorting Broadcom from there. It's a good company. Nothing wrong with the company. Valuation might be a little bit higher, but if we do have a sell-off in tech, a little bit of rotation, this is one of the ones that have just absolutely crushed it. So for day trade purpose, if you're looking for that, again, we are gapping above yesterday's candle right at the highs of the day. So that's still fairly bullish. This showed that there was some bulls interested, at least, or some shorts just taking profit at that 50. Other than that, I do also like the fact that we're kind of gapping above those two VPOCs. So somewhere around 160, 146. We'll see where this thing actually opens. You got to get all of this action is really more or less inside this one little sell-off candle. We haven't got into that gap fill yet. So I would actually be leaning a little bit bullish on this one. For day trade, I wouldn't be quite short just yet. Targets on this one for today, maybe we get into this 165.29 zone. So I would be watching for that one. But otherwise, if none of that works out and we start breaking down, if you could find a trade that works for you, I think there's some downside if we break yesterday's candle. Otherwise, today maybe a little bounce on that one. Amazon, the Amazon continues to drop. Continues to drop. Retest gap. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red days in a row. We are opening below the 100 where the bulls came in to try to save it last time. I think we're still bearish, but I wouldn't go short at open. If you want to, you could probably try to play a fade higher. I don't know if I'd want to take that direction. There's not a crazy amount of room. But I think some people might be looking for like 180, 185 to come in for a short. Or I'd be looking for 183.91 if that 100 doesn't stop there. So if we keep on going, look for that 183.91. And then see if we can kind of get that rollover. Otherwise, I got targets on this one. It was slightly longer term to about 175.83. And then I got one more that's never been retested all the way back to 172.65. So we do have some more room to go down. But again, today out of the gate, I'd probably see if we can't get that. It's a lot of selling. I don't want to go short at that morning bell. So we'll see. Nothing like septic inspections first thing in the morning. Oh, I love, yeah, no. I try to schedule as many meetings as possible. Anybody that calls me that wants to come over, inspect anything, I'm down with it. You, Cheryl, you said something. I forget. There was two stocks that you had. Pepsi and RTX you put into Slack yesterday. So let's cover those before I forget. Pepsi for swing again. There's no AI, there's no tech involved in Pepsi. They do have the divvies. They're not at all-time highs. So if I'm comparing right now Coke to Pepsi, and I do own Coke, I don't own Pepsi, but I would probably be considering Pepsi even for some kind of a trade because we're not at all-time highs. We do have this open gap up to 176.75, 176.65, and then that VPOC for the retest is 178. So I think it does have some room to go. Maybe not as interesting as it looked last night. It still does look interesting. Again, we have a few days of kind of we still even had that VPOC higher. We got rejected at that first resistance 172.66. So that's off the table. I think if this thing pulls back a little bit and maybe comes into for a good entry at least 168.27, something to that effect, maybe get a little lower 167.19. But I think on the pullbacks, this is not bad. I like this little trap candle, closed very, very strong, good volume on it. We broke out higher than that, came back, retest. So the chart itself looks decent. Kind of actually looks a little like the Oxy trade a little bit, but more this is more a little bit more a capitulation on Pepsi. So I think it does have a higher upside to this one. And especially if people are clearing tech names and want to put money somewhere, something like this, collect a little divvy in the meantime, might be good. What was the other one you had? You had RTX. Yep, that was it. RTX. This one, you're opening right at resistance today. You're also kind of in that resistance from up here. We almost hit it. Got close to it. So I think there's some people looking to take profits around 105.66. Looks like they jumped the gun a little bit. That is a 2-day reversal, and you're opening at resistance. This one actually might be good for a fade on a day trade. RTX today. See if we get that pullback. We've already run up, hit resistance. We're below that last pivot still, so that's going to act as some kind of resistance as well. I'm actually going to move RTX. Maybe we could get a day trade. Day trade at resistance. Let's get that one higher up on the list. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Crowd, Microsoft, AUR. Aurora Intervent Innovation. That's an interesting open on it. It's an under $5 stock, so I'm not going to day trade it. But to me, it looks shortable. Anything, if as long as it remains on this 426, maybe even if you want to take a break of yesterday's candle, that looks like it probably wants to pull back. Target would be about 379, so you got some room. So not bad, but it is under $5. So for me, I won't trade it. Exxon Mobil. Nothing to see here. Yes, I did. We did look at crowd. I can pull it up again though. I got 4 minutes. Exxon Mobil is chilling. Yeah, you still same thing with Oxy. Both Oxy, I would say CVX probably as well. They've all been kind of running. This one as well has hit resistance, pulled back, got some people to hit targets there. So I think maybe looking for like the first spot I would look on a pullback 116.05. I don't know that I would necessarily fade it, but I definitely won't go long here. So take that for what you want. I almost prefer to try to figure out how to go bearish. See if we get that pullback. For me to get a good risk reward, probably if I can go short somewhere around 118.79, that's where I would try it with a stop somewhere above yesterday's wick. I think if we start breaking that wick yesterday, then we're just obviously crushing higher. You're absolutely wrong on your trade and just take the loss. But that's a lot of buying. We're pretty far from any of those moving averages. Pan W, yeah. So Pan W is gonna be interesting. CrowdStrike is down. Pan W, they're capitalizing on this bad news. They're like, look at us, we're still operating. Maybe you want to reconsider, but you have a gap and go right into that little resistance. So we got 332.28. I don't know. Let's see the volume zones on this one. I don't know if we looked at this one yesterday I don't think we looked at this in the afternoon room. This one's even got a little bit of room to the bull side, actually up to about 337.34. Can we break that resistance? And we have a good trade. This is the anti-crowd trade today. This one tells me I can get to like 338 zone. I'll put this higher on the list. We're above all moving averages, so that's good. Crowd's got bad news, which is probably good for Pan W. And actually, right now we got, yeah. So the only thing I was really holding me back on this one was the fact that we were below those two VPOCs. And as I'm talking, you guys must have all been just buying it because we just got through that. So yeah, bullish probably on that one. And then with CrowdStrike, so for whoever missed it, nothing to see here. It looks pretty short. I think it goes short. I have reminders to go really, really short on CrowdStrike. Before it was a little higher. Right now, the only problem with the day trade, we do have some support down here. We have the 200, so I'm not going short at open. Massive, massive gap. Probably that morning bell rings, it drops real quick, and then I would expect probably some kind of a bounce today on that one. Netflix, yeah, so Netflix, kind of a wild earnings or a reaction to earnings, I would say. But yeah, the revenue was good. The subscribers grew. The ad subscribers grew. Or the people subscribing for the ad package, I guess they all grew. So I didn't really see anything I didn't like on the earnings. It's a decent little gap up. Not a big move on Netflix, although now it did get a little bit bigger. So maybe some of those calls. See if this one wants to fade, but watch for support around 657, 16. I was thinking today might be a little muted on Netflix just because there's a lot of people that bought calls, bought puts, and it would make sense to just wipe them all out and just theta cap them. But you got 657, 16 for a day trader. So if we could get a little bit of a pullback, fantastic. This is a gap and go, clearing good pivots. Targets on this one takes me to about 671.30. So we got some room. We'll see how this one wants to trade to. Again, so far I don't see anything with like crazy ranges. Oh, there's the load the boat short coming up. All right. That is the morning bell. So all my people out in YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us each and every day. Be safe in this market. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you guys all on Monday. Later, guys.